Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to 4th year. I am Dr. Namra Naeem and I am Assistant Professor of Pathology in Faisalabad Medical University, and I have done FCPS in histopathology. So basically histopathology is my specialty, and in 4th year class you will be discussing the special pathology, that is the diseases related to various organs. So this is the beginning of your clinical training, because you will be understanding the basic concepts, the pathogenesis of different organs, the different systems, so that you will be able to apply this in your clinical training in final year in medicine and surgery. So this special pathology is very important. So the topics that we are going to start is the blood vessel. Majority of the diseases that occur in the human body are due to the vascular pathology, because the organs of the body got the blood supply, and any disease process that involves the blood vessel ultimately affect the particular organ. So whenever there is narrowing or stenosis or complete obstruction of the vessel wall, either due to any disease like atherosclerosis or thrombosis, so the ischemia of the organ occurs. And sometimes the vessel wall weaken due to aneurysm, aortic dissection, so the rupture and catastrophic sequences occur. So first of all, we would be discussing the normal anatomy, the structure of the vessel wall. So the normal vessels have three concentric layers: the tunica intima, the tunica media, and the tunica adventitia. So the tunica intima is the innermost layer of the vessel wall, and it is composed of endothelial cells that rest on the basement membrane. And this intimal layer is separated from the tunica media by a layer that is referred to as the internal elastic lamina. The next layer is the tunica media, and the tunica media is made up of smooth muscle cells, and that layer is separated from the external or the outer layer, that is the adventitia, with the help of a layer that is referred to as the external elastic lamina. And the tunica adventitia is made up of different nerves, the vasa vasorum, so it is the outermost layer. So now there are three types of vessels: the arteries, the veins, the capillaries. These are the major types of the vessels. So arteries are larger vessels. There are three types of arteries: the elastic arteries, which are large, the muscular arteries, and then there are small arteries and arterioles. The larger elastic arteries, the examples are the aorta, the innominate artery, the subclavian, and the common carotid artery. In the muscular artery that are medium size, there are renal and the coronary arteries, and the small arteries that are less than 2 millimeter in size, and the arterioles, these are 20 to 100 micrometer. And then there are capillaries, which are approximately of about the size of red blood cell, that is 7 micrometer. And then there are veins, the post capillary venules, the collecting venules, and the veins. So this is the basic structure of the vessel wall, as you can very well appreciate in this figure. The innermost layer, that is the endothelial layer, the tunica intima, that is separated from the media with the help of internal elastic lamina, that is highlighted in the blue color. And then the tunica media, that is composed of the smooth muscle cells. As you can see, they are arranged in the form of concentric arrangement. And then there comes the external elastic lamina, and finally the tunica adventitia, comprising of different small vessels including the small arteries, arterioles, the nerves. So this is the major vascular organization. That is, first there are large elastic arteries from which the blood flows through the medium-sized muscular arteries and then through the small arteries to the various organs, and in the organs the arteries then further break up into the arterioles and then finally the capillaries, and after the capillaries where the oxygenation takes place, and the deoxygenated blood is carried through the post-capillary venules, the collecting venules, and finally the veins that return the blood to the right side of the heart. Then you have to understand the concept of lymphatics. So lymphatics are endothelium lined channels that drain the excess interstitial or the tissue fluid that leaks out in the case of certain illnesses or in certain conditions during the blood flow, whenever through the blood is flowing through the capillaries into the post capillary venules, some of the blood leaks into the interstitial space, so that excess tissue fluid is returned to the blood with the help of thoracic ducts and the lymphatics. So this diagram is highly important because it basically highlights the differences in the structure of the different vessels of the body. As you can see, the heart, and from the heart the aorta originates, and this aorta is actually the elastic artery. The content of elastic tissue is much higher in aorta because it has to regulate pulsatile flow and maintains the blood pressure. So it has high elastic content as compared to the smooth muscle. And then from the aorta the muscular artery arises, and as you can see in the figure on the right side, in the muscular artery there is thickened tunica media. So the tunica media is composed of concentric layer of smooth muscle cells. They are arranged in concentric arrangement. So as soon as the muscular artery breaks up into the arterioles and the small arteries, the ratio of wall thickness increases and the muscle layer becomes shorter. So in the arteriole the lumen becomes smaller and the wall becomes progressively thickened. So major blood pressure controls occur in the arterioles. So the arteriolar smooth muscle contraction and relaxation are regulated by inputs from the autonomic nervous system. So arterioles are the principal points of physiological resistance to blood flow. And then from the arteriole the capillaries that are helpful in the exchange of blood through to the tissues, and there is a difference in the structure of the capillaries because in the capillaries there are no three concentric layers. The capillaries have only the endothelial cell layer, and outside the endothelial cell layer there is a thin layer of pericytes that are a specialized smooth muscle cells, and they have high cross-sectional area so that the gas exchange and the nutrient exchange to the various tissues occur. So from the capillaries the post-capillary venule originates, and then it becomes venule, the medium-sized vein, and ultimately the large vein. As you can see on the left side of the figure, the veins have a thinner tunica media, so they undergo dilatation. So the vein, the lumen of the vein is larger as compared to the arteries. And as a result of these differences in structure of the vessel, certain disorders affect particular vessel. As you can notice that stasis leading to thrombosis occur in the veins because they are dilated, and the majority of the hypertensive disorders affect the arteries. After the structure of the vessel wall, you should understand the basic concept of the vascular wall cells and their responses to injury. If you recall your memory of the third year chapter of acute inflammation, whenever there is any injury to the vessel wall, first of all the consequences what occurs are the vasodilation, that is the vessel become dilated under the influence of the histamine release, and ultimately after the vasodilation there is damage to the endothelial cells leading to increased vascular permeability and the recruitment of the inflammatory cell to the site of inflammation. So the endothelial cells that lie the vascular wall have the following functions, that is the elaboration of anticoagulant, antithrombotic and the fibrinolytic regulators. There is elaboration of prothrombotic molecules, extracellular matrix production, that is the collagen and the proteoglycans, the modulation of blood flow and the vascular reactivity, the regulation of inflammation and immunity, the regulation of cell growth and the oxidation of low density lipoprotein that we will be discussing in detail in the topic of atherosclerosis. Now the functions of the vascular smooth muscle cell. The vascular smooth muscle cell under certain influence or when they are appropriately stimulated, they undergo proliferation and they synthesize the extracellular matrix, collagen, factors and the cytokines. And under certain conditions they can undergo vasoconstriction or vasodilation. So the response of vascular wall cells to injury. Normally the endothelial cells are in their normotensive state, that is whenever the blood is flowing smoothly through the vessel wall or there is low production of growth factors, the endothelial cells remain in their stable state. However, whenever any injury to the endothelial cell occurs, it could be in the form of toxins, certain viruses, bacteria, hypoxia, acidosis, or certain elaboration of cytokines, chemokines or the complement factors that you have already discussed in your third year class of acute inflammation. So the endothelial cell undergo injury and they become activated. So the endothelial injury contributes to a host of pathologies including thrombosis, atherosclerosis and hypertensive vascular disease. So the injury, whenever there is any injury to the endothelial cell, a subsequent healing response occurs, that is the smooth muscle cells from the tunica media migrate through the internal elastic lamina to the tunica intima, and then they undergo expansion and proliferation and synthesize extracellular matrix. So there is recruitment and activation of smooth muscle cells, and that process is regulated by certain signals, growth factors, cytokines and mediators. So intimal thickening is a stereotyped response to cell injury. So these are the activators or the induced genes that may lead to the activation of endothelial cells, that is the activators or the certain damage that occurs to the endothelial cell in the form of hypoxia, complement products, viruses, lipid products, and the induced gene include the growth factor, the cytokines, the chemokines. As you can memorize, there are different kinds of growth factors, the cytokines that are interleukin 1, 6, tumor necrosis factor, and then there are certain chemokines, and then there are coagulation proteins. So ultimately in the lower half of the figure you can very well appreciate that there is damage to the endothelium, and ultimately the smooth muscle cells are migrating from the tunica intima through the internal elastic lamina into the tunica intima, and ultimately there is smooth muscle cell proliferation, mitosis and the elaboration of extracellular matrix. So the intimal smooth muscle cell have properties that are different from the medial smooth muscle cell, because the intimal smooth muscle cells can undergo mitosis and they can elaborate the extracellular matrix factor. Now coming to the congenital anomalies. these are certain vascular anomalies that you should be able to know. The first is the developmental or the berry aneurysm that occur most commonly in the cerebral vessels, and when they damage occur, these are the outpouching in the vessel wall. Then intracerebral hemorrhage occurs. The next are the arteriovenous fistulas, that is the direct communication occur between the arteries and veins that bypass the intervening capillaries. So they are also prone to rupture, and whenever they flow blood under high pressure through the arteries directly into the veins, it may lead to the high output cardiac failure. And the third one is the fibromuscular dysplasia, that is the focal irregular thickening of the walls of the medium and the large muscular arteries. So after the congenital anomalies, the last topic that we are going to discuss in the introductory lecture is the arteriosclerosis. As the name indicates, arteriosclerosis means that the arterial wall gets thickened and loses its elasticity. So the arterial wall thickening and loss of elasticity is referred to as the arteriosclerosis. So it has three general patterns. You should memorize them very well, because this question come in university questions and you get confused. The three general patterns of arteriosclerosis are arteriosclerosis hyaline and hyperplastic type. The second is the monkey bug medial calcific sclerosis. That is the calcific deposition in the muscular arteries of individuals that are greater than 50 years old. And the last one that we will be discussing in the next lecture is the atherosclerosis, that is the chronic inflammatory disorder of the intima of large arteries that is characterized by the formation of fibrofatty plaques called atheroma. The atherosclerosis is basically a Greek word that is mean gruel or hardening. So arteriosclerosis has two anatomic variants, the hyaline type of arteriosclerosis and the hyperplastic type that we will be discussing in detail in the hypertensive vascular diseases. So now the key points of today's lecture that you would be should know and memorize, and you will be asked in your vivas and in your OSPs and in UQs, and in the next week you will be discussing these in tutorials with your teachers. So you should be able to know the differences in the structure of vasculature, that is the differences in the arteries, veins and capillaries, their layers and the differences in their tunica media, the tunica intima, then how the capillaries are different from other vessels, and then what is the basal and the activated endothelial cell state, what are the factors that lead to the activation of endothelial cell, and then what typical change occurs in the vessel wall in response to vascular injury, that is what stereotypical response occurs in vascular injury, that is the intimal wall thickening. So you should also be able to know the and name the vascular anomalies that are congenital or the berry aneurysm, AV fistulas and the fibromuscular dysplasia. And then you should be able to know the three general patterns of arteriosclerosis, monkey bug medial calcific sclerosis and the atherosclerosis. So thank you so much.